Thanks to the supporters and channel member, Sam Porter. Oh, boys and girls, before we get into this transfer special, just want to give you a quick reminder that the Football Manager Streamer Showdown is back this weekend over on Twitch. If you don't know what the Streamer Showdown is, it's awesome. A load of Football Manager content creators all get together. We play each other over the course of a couple of evenings over on Twitch. And then at about 10 o'clock Sunday night, I'm declared the winner. I've won it 6 out of 9 times. It's a lovely old time. I'm planning on becoming Kevy 7 times this weekend, and you can watch along from 7 p.m. both Saturday and Sunday nights at twitch.tv/LOLLUJO. Other channels and creators are available, but let's face it, you want to back a winner, and I hope to see some of you over there. We're going to have a jolly good time. Hello and welcome to part 15 of Rebuilding Barcelona. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our season review and transfer special ahead of season 3 of the save, the halfway point of the save. This is a 4-year save. We've now completed 2 years. We've got to clear this debt in the next 2 years whilst continuing to be competitive. And we certainly are continuing to be competitive because, as you can see from the league table, we did, of course, win La Liga. We were well clear in the last episode. That's why I didn't bother showing you anymore. We've ended up 19 points clear. The one regret, if I have one regret, is the one in the loss column, which came right at the end of the season. One game before the end, I was playing big time rotation at this point, and I'd been doing it for a little while. You can see just how rotated this side is. I mean, some of these kids are proper young. Okay, he's 19, perhaps not as young as I thought. There's some of them who are really very, very... Okay, I don't really know the ages of any of them. There are definitely some young ones. I think he's 16. Yeah, so there you go, 16-year-old, new gen, 5-star potential. We've given debuts to a lot of people. We've played a lot of young players. And by and large, it worked. We got wins over Atletico Madrid, over Real Madrid, over Valencia. We drew against Valencia, but we did lose to Sevilla. It was the one defeat, the one game that kept us away from an unbeaten, invincible season, from 100 points. And I'm not that bothered. We didn't need an invincible season. Tammy Abraham, of course, has ended up top scorer in La Liga as well. 34 goals from 36 appearances in all competitions. 20 goals from 20 starts in La Liga. Let's not read too much into that not being a goal a game. Tammy Abraham, he's a hero. Should we get into the season review, which I think I've already skipped past somehow? It's doing, and in fact, I haven't. It's there. We're doing this in a weird order. So this is the all-time best 11. So this is largely going to be this season's team. Weirdly, Longley, Roberto, Coutinho still in there. Dembele. It's odd because Coutinho, Dembele, they were only with us for half a season, but they're still in the all-time best 11. And Isco's made, I guess a few of them have, it's a weird one. What a weird thing. Let's do the season review. So, 2 trophies. We did win the domestic double, La Liga and the Copa del Rey, and of course got to the semi-final of the Champions League as well. All in all, we'll call that a jolly good season. Alex Grimaldo got signing of the season, and I really can't argue. He was the last one in, but what an impact he made. 17 assists, averaged 7.7. That's what you call a signing. At 27, he's someone who can be here for the rest of the save as well, and he's just nailed on as our first choice starting left back from now on. Can't really complain about that. Isco has been fantastic as well. 10 goals, 20 assists from 41 starts on a 7.37. I don't think anyone expected that from Isco. Ignore the Barcelona B stuff. A lot of these first teamers have been playing for Barcelona B while the youngsters have been playing for the first team. So disregard that. I've not demoted all of them. We've already looked at Tammy Abraham, who obviously had a very good season. Pedro, interestingly, went out to Lyon on loan and has been doing really quite well in Ligue 1. 7 goals from 8 starts on a 7.37 suggests that maybe I was a little bit too quick to write Pedro and his beautiful jawline off. So, I mean, we're still going to try and sign a striker to properly compete with Tammy this summer, assuming Aguero leaves. If we can't, though, it probably isn't the end of the world if Pedro comes back and refills that squad spot. Azpilicueta would have been a great signing, I think, if he could have stayed fit, but we need to replace him as our backup fullback. We suffered a little bit for that, certainly in the Champions League run. And Hector Herrera, another big surprise at 32 years old, coming in, playing 34 times, getting 12 assists and a 7.15. But I think at 33, he's probably done his season now. We need to be looking at the likes of Sandri, Marcus Antonio, Couple of the younger players to maybe step up and take that spot now. And although he's not on a huge amount of money, and it won't be the end of the world if he's around as a squad player for another year, equally at his age, I won't be really upset if he moves on this summer either. Oxlade Chamberlain, bit of a flop. Probably could have seen that one coming. And I think at £105,000 a week, we probably do look to move him on. He only started 15 times. Didn't look great when he did and ended the season with an injury. I mean, we've just summed up his career in a nutshell there, I think. So probably time to move him on. Rudiger, again, not really worked out the way we'd hoped it would. And Livakovic will become our first choice goalkeeper. We just need to move ter Stegen on. But I think that probably needs to happen this summer, or else Livakovic probably isn't going to hang around forever waiting for ter Stegen to move on. Results-wise, of course, we did really well. We were supposed to compete for La Liga. We ended up winning the thing. We're still not filling the stadium, which is, I won't say it's alarming, but I don't know, would Barcelona normally average 100% attendance? I mean, 91,000 as an average attendance isn't too shabby, but it would be nice to be filling the ground. The moments to remember, the 10-0 win. That was a pretty special day. And of course, money-wise is crucial. So sponsorship is up slightly. Broadcast revenue up significantly, which is going to be handy. Corporate and hospitality is down a little bit, though, as is competition prize money. A little bit confused about that one, considering we got to the semi-final of the Champions League, won La Liga, won Copa del Rey. What on earth more could we have done? Where did the extra competition prize money come from the year before? That year, we didn't win the Copa del Rey. We won La Liga. We got to the semi-final of the Champions League. I don't really get how we lost nearly £30 million in competition prize money, unless it's just an accounting date thing and there's maybe money due because the season's ended late or something. I don't really know. Or maybe the season's starting early, moved the dates around weird. I'm not really sure. Matchday revenue was up, though, and our most popular player, most shirts sold, Ansu Fati, Tammy Abraham right up there as well, as, interestingly, is Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, which I didn't expect to see. Our team of the season, then, is ter Stegen in goal, a back four of Grimaldo, Garcia, Sula and Dest, Herrera and De Jong in midfield, Fati, Isco and Pedri out wide, and then Abraham up front. And that looks about right to me. I guess the one player who'd be a little bit disappointed to miss out is Memphis Depay, who could probably be in there for Pedri. And I look at Frankie De Jong and think, 6.91. You're unhappy at the club and potential big offers coming in. You've massively underperformed this year compared to last year. You're earning a lot of money. If we get £100 million plus offer again from this summer, maybe it won't be the end of the world if Frankie De Jong moves on. We shall see. Awards-wise, I won lots of manager awards, which is lovely. Player of the Year was Grimaldo. Young Player of the Year, Dest. Shows just how important fullbacks are to the way we play, and how much we suffered when they started to pick up injuries. Signing of the season, also Grimaldo, as we already know. Goal of the season went to Memphis. Top scorer is Tammy. Most assists is Isco, and most man of the match and most highest average rating, both going to Grimaldo. And again, take all this with a pinch of salt because the club records probably aren't quite right. Isco, I would suggest that Messi fella probably got more assists in a season at some point than Isco has. Imagine if Isco's broken a Messi record. There'd be riots. Did we get any competition awards? Oh, we have. So ter Stegen, proving that he's the best goalkeeper in the world, winning the World Golden Glove, the FIFA Best Men's Goalkeeper, the Spanish Goalkeeper of the Year. Dest won North American Player of the Year. Fati, Spanish Young Player of the Year, and European Golden Shoe went to Sergio Aguero. I think all those classes from last year, because Aguero's largely been a backup player this year, so I'd be surprised if he won anything this time around. The board are looking for me to continue working within the wage budget. That's still the only thing they really care about in the 5-year plan. They want us to continue trying to sign young players and make the most of set pieces, which we're definitely doing both of those. Our set piece game has been excellent this year, and we are slowly starting to lower the average age of the players that we're bringing in. They're looking for us to challenge for La Liga again and reach the quarterfinal of the Champions League. So basically, keep doing what you're doing as far as competition results go. Interesting, they're not asking me to fix the financial situation because the game is weird and thinks that the situation is fixed, even though we're both in debt there and massively in debt here. And that's causing this to keep happening and a projection that looks like that. So obviously our goal is to continue chopping away at this. We're halfway through the save, but not yet halfway through clearing the debt. So we do need to pick up the pace really by the end of the summer. I know we've got £200 million of sponsorship coming in, which should take us down to a £400 million debt. It would be nice if we weren't too far away from a £300 million debt come the end of the summer, the end of this video, because that then gives us the best part of 2 years to clear the remaining debt and therefore complete the challenge, because we have to clear the debt to complete the challenge. These are our team leaders, PK, Aguero and Memphis Depay. Both PK and Aguero should leave this summer. I say should because neither of them are actually out of contract. We don't really have any first teamers, I don't think, who are out of contract this summer. We've got lots. Right, let's clear this squad because a lot of these players who are up from the B team are clogging up my view here. So Aguero, PK, Herrera, Azpilicueta, all the old men are all out of contract next summer. So on that note, I'd probably want to sell all of them this summer if we can, along with ter Stegen, and probably Rudiger and Oxlade-Chamberlain. So almost that entire group. So what's that? 7 players I'd quite like to move on. And that would bring in, what, 290 through like 450. That'd bring in like £600,000 a week into our wage budget. We'd probably need to bring in 4 or 5 players to replace them. But if we can bring them in on the same kind of salaries we were paying last summer, around about their 50 to 75,000, we could potentially bring £400,000 off the wage budget, which in turn brings us below the £2 million a week that I'm kind of unofficially aiming for. Don't hold me to that one. If we're over 2 million a week at the end of the summer, it'll be for good reason. We're not going to waste money, but at the same time, we're not going to completely decimate the squad. But we are going to be paying a little bit more attention to the development centre this time around, and the likes of Gavi, Nico probably need to be moving up into the first team squad now, and we'll have a rummage around to see what else we can find down in the box of goodies that is the development centre, and we'll have a little bit of a further delve in there. Right, let's... These are so dumb. Yeah, we'll win the league again next year, but we've offended PK. I've backed down. I didn't mean to do that. Let's do that one. I hate this. This needs fixing for FM22. It's always a little bit broken. Team report, we're not going to worry too much about. Training camp destination, we're off to Holland. Lovely old stuff. Trincao, of course. In fact, both of these will be coming back into the squad this summer. We're going to have to make decisions about them. Trincao is on a lot of money, £140,000 a week. If he's not going to be a nailed-on starter, he's moving out again because we're not going to be paying that for a fringe player. Ihataren, much cheaper, but hasn't exactly been pulling up trees playing for Almeria. 6.35 off of 11 starts in this league worries me a little bit. Grimaldo's won Spanish Player of the Year. Sula second, and some guy who doesn't play for us in third. Tammy Abraham congratulated for winning his top scorer award. There's ter Stegen as the top keeper. Some handsome guy has won best manager in the league. And there's your team of the season. And there's a lot of Barcelona shirts in there, as you would expect. Both Aguero and Abraham making it into the team of the year, which is interesting because they never really played together. Abraham replaced Aguero partway through, and they both did well enough to make it into team of the year, which is, I mean, I guess it shows the state of the strikers in the rest of the league. So the plan for the summer, part 1, get rid of those players we want rid of. We want rid of them ASAP, so we know what kind of budget we're working with. And then there are areas where we need players. We certainly saw it this season when we started to accumulate injuries. If Rudiger and PK are leaving, we need at least one more centre-back, if not 2. We certainly need some more cover at fullback as well, because again, if we're losing Rudiger and Azpilicueta, we've only really got Dest and Grimaldo, so we're going to need a backup on both sides. If ter Stegen's going, we need a backup goalkeeper, so that's already 5 players that we need. In central midfield, we're probably going to lose De Jong, Herrera, Oxlade-Chamberlain, so we might need 1 or 2 there, although we've got Nico, we've got Gavi, who could come up and slot into those. Sandri will be coming back from his loan. So we have more strength in depth there, so we probably don't need to force a midfielder. If we're losing Aguero, we need at least one more striker. Oh, I guess I say that. We've got Abraham, we've got Pedro, we've got Memphis. We could probably get away with letting Aguero going and not even replacing him and just bring Pedro back into the first team squad. If there's a good value striker, we'll look to bring him in, but we're not going to burst the budget, bring in a striker into the club. And likewise, with attacking midfielders, wide players, we've got so much strength and depth in those areas. I think the attack is largely okay. We just need more in the defensive areas. So let's get rid of these guys. I think some players are about to get upset. But who cares? Let's just offer them out. And oh, hold on. Offer. Are you sure you want to... What? I've never done them as a bulk before. Let's not do it as a bulk, eh? Let's do them individually. So I'm going to offer these guys out, start trying to get some offers in, and as soon as we start clearing the deck a little bit, we'll be back to have a look to see what the budget is and work out what we're going to do from there when it comes to players coming in. Oh, I feel like this is going to be a frustrating summer. We've had Rudiger reject contracts elsewhere. Ter Stegen's now rejecting Arsenal. And we've got lots of players who we've accepted offers for. Rudiger, we've accepted more offers. Azpilicueta, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Marcos Antonio, who got a grumpy on and has put in a transfer request because I wasn't playing him in the right position, apparently. So we've accepted offers for him. Aguero is actually leaving. He's going to Napoli. So we've got Aguero off the wage bill. That's a big thing. But we still need to get plenty more, and we can't even get offers for PK. I'm actually at the point where I'm tempted to offer PK a termination just to get him off the wage bill, but I don't know if he's going to accept one. I don't really know that I want to pay for one. Surely someone will take him for very little money. He needs to just go, please. Well, we have been busy. Lots of ins, lots of outs. It's the 1st of July, so it's a contract expiry day as well, so we'll have a look to see if there's any freebies around in a second as well. But confirmation of transfers first. Micah Marmol, him who did the red card, cost us the Champions League, has gone on a free transfer to Girona. Apparently he was one of ours as well, but the fans are happy that he's gone. Hurrah! Likewise him. Fans are happy. These are just the youngsters whose contracts have expired. There's another one going there. These are all the players that we've signed, though. Yeah, we've spent £112 million. I don't like the fact it's showing you it in this order. Let's go through them. Some of these are the youngsters that we already had arranged, and some of these are transfers that I've now just done. So, Facundo Torres, 23-year-old Uruguay international. 2 goals from 2 caps for Uruguay. He's an attacking midfielder. I know we didn't really need one, but he was such a bargain. He's only cost us £11 million. He's better than De Jong. He's better than Depay. He's better than Isco. He's better than Pedri. He's a leading player for most La Liga sides. There was a lot of big clubs in for him. He was still over in Uruguay. He's a goal scorer, and he just fits the profile at 23. We can probably move Isco on now, is what I'm thinking. Ronnie Cruz is one of the many youngsters. We won't dwell on them too much. He's one of the youngsters that we were looking at before. Likewise, Josic. These are youngsters that we've brought in previous episodes. Another one for the first team, though, Andrea Pepetti, 20-year-old Italian under-21 international. Not quite ready to be starting yet, but does have 5-star potential. He is a proper Italian wonder kid defender. I think that's just the kind of thing we need as a backup to Sula and Garcia. PK's still knocking around as well because we can't get shot of him. He was at Brescia. It would have been nice to find him last summer and pay that price, but alas, we did not. We found him this summer and have paid considerably more after a year playing in Bundesliga, but I think he is going to be just what we need going forward at the back. More additions to the defence. Pedro Poro, 3 caps for Spain already at 23 years old. He is a very, very pacey attacking right back from Manchester City. 3.5-star current ability makes him the best right back at the club, better than Dest, allowing Dest to be our backup for both sides, really, or potentially a starter on both sides. Who knows? We've got Grimaldi, we've got Porro, we've got Dest, we've got Alejandro Baldi, who's back with 4.5-star potential. But he played 22 times for Manchester City last year. Very, very attacking from that right back position. Couldn't really resist him. He's another one who's cost £42 million. Eric Bertelsen is another one of the youngsters that we brought in just for a little bit of under-19 depth. We've then got another wonder kid, Marcos Leonardo, is a 20-year-old Brazilian wonder kid striker, 2.5-star current ability, 3.5-star potential. He's really there as, we may as well sell Pedro kind of player, especially because we're only allowed a certain number of foreign players. We might be forcing our hands into selling Pedro here by bringing him in, but you can't resist a Brazilian wonder kid striker, can you? what kind of human would I be? Is he the next anyone? He's the next Edmundo. There you go. We've also signed Edvard Tagseth, who is rubbish. I mean, he was scouted really well. Juventus were in for him as well. Arsenal were in for him as well. He was scouted as a good signing. He was scouted as having 4-star potential. I figured for £5 million with Antonio leaving because he got a grumpy on. In fact, 4 million, not even 5 million. I thought he'd be a good squad player. Maybe not. Maybe he's a bit of a flop, but he's cheap. That's the key thing. Only 28 grand a week and he's 22. So we'll probably be able to sell him on for a profit after a year at Barcelona anyway. And then a young goalkeeper as well. Anton Linder is a 5-star potential young goalkeeper. Let's send them all on Spanish language courses. I'll just welcome them all into the squad as well, because you don't welcome them in, I assume they get grumpy. I don't even really know. I guess this gets them an early introduction to a potential friendship group, helps them get started on gelling into the squad. It does seem silly that there's not just a button there that says welcome all new signings when you have 9 of them all coming in on the same day. But let's welcome all the new signings and then allocate some squad numbers. There are some players who've left as well. The inbox is showing you this in a rather odd order, but they're the ins. And then the out, more outs. A young goalkeeper's gone. We've sold Sergio Aguero to Napoli for £5 million. The fans are unhappy, not bothered. He was on a huge amount of money. That's now off the wage bill. Marcos Antonio, who didn't want to be here, off the wage bill, £32.5 million to Bayern Munich. Antonio Rudiger, £21 million for a player we brought in on a free transfer. That works for me. He's gone to play for Gladbach. We've sold Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain to Paris Saint-Germain for £41 million. I feel like this is sensational business we've done here. We've brought him in for 26 million, barely used him, sold him on to Paris Saint-Germain for big, big money. And it's a big salary off the wage bill as well. Apparently we've splashed out on a record transfer fee. You what? £46.5 million transfer from Man City to Barcelona has set a new record for transfer fee paid by a Spanish club. I don't think it has. I think that's a little bit of an error somewhere in the database. And we've set a record for an Italian player as well. Still nobody wants PK. We've offered to mutually terminate. We're now offering him out for 0. We just can't get rid of the man. It's unfortunate because he is well past it now. I wonder if we can offer him a new contract as a coach. Probably not, because I've been trying to get rid of him all summer. Yeah, that's not ideal. Who is Albert? He's 15, so we're not selling 15-year-olds yet. We've also had all our loan players come back. So if we just check in on the money, first of all, this is not ideal. And that's because we're also in for Gabriel Jesus, who we probably don't need now because we signed that other wonder kid. Chelsea want him as well. We're probably going to pull out of that deal, which brings us back down to £2.5 million. So slightly more than we were spending before. However, there are offers in currently for Hector Herrera and Ter Stegen, which would bring in another £70 million or so of money up front, plus another £250,000 back onto the wage budget. So it does bring us back in line with where we want to be. And this is now what the squad depth looks like. So if we take off all of this stuff, we will include the B team and the under-19s and have a look to see what we've got in different positions. So in goal, hopefully it's going to be Livakovic and then a backup of maybe this guy. I don't think we need to go out and buy a backup. Maybe this guy. And we've got the youngster that we brought in, Linda, who could maybe he's 5-star potential. Maybe he can sit on the bench. Who knows? But I think Ter Stegen moves on and Livakovic just comes into the team. Then at the back, we've got Garcia, who is the new club captain. Now Aspilicueta's moved on. So Garcia in as captain. We've got Garcia and Sula as our starting centre-backs. PK's still knocking around, not really ideal. Pepetti is our backup centre-back. And then we've got a bunch of youngsters. I don't think we need to bring another one in. We've got Santi Ramos Mingo, who's a 2-star current ability player. We've got a couple of others like him. Comas. Mingueza's leaving, I think. I thought he was leaving. Maybe he wasn't. I thought I'd agreed to sell him, but he looks like he's still here. Bottom line, I don't think we need another centre-back in. I think with PK and youngsters, I think we're probably okay with the main 3 that we're going to be using. And then as fullbacks, Grimaldo and Poro as our starters. Dest as backup. We've got Baldi back in as backup now as well. He spent the season on loan at Montpellier in France. And had a pretty decent season, so he can come straight back into the mix. In central midfield, we had a big offer from Manchester United for Frenkie de Jong, like 118 million. I turned it down, and then de Jong decided he wanted to stay. He's happy to stay at the club. That's probably what that says. That's what the chat was about. So de Jong is here. He's staying here. We build the team around him. So Frenkie de Jong as our main starter in midfield. We're looking to move Herrera on. There's a lot of central midfielders at the club, but really, you're looking at the likes of Pedro, Sandri, Tagzeth, Gavi, Nico. These are the ones who are going to be in there playing with de Jong this season. Probably we need to pull Sandri back off of his loan, actually. Recall from loan, so get him back into the mix as well. And then attacking midfield, we've got Torres who's just come in. Isco, we can probably move on now as a 31-year-old who is now the 4th best attacking midfielder that we've got. If we can get anywhere near his value, that would be super after a year at the club. And then backups to Torres, you've got the likes of Pedri and Gavi and Nico and all these same players again. And then in the wide areas, we've got Fati, we've got Torres can play out on the left wing. You know who we've got, Pedri, Depay, Trincao, who's back in as well. I mean, he's come back a better player than he was when he left. And I did have him on the transfer list. I'm now thinking maybe he comes off the transfer list and maybe we actually find a way to involve him in the team now, because he looks pretty decent, doesn't he? Maybe we use him. Maybe we include him in this attacking midfield setup. And then up front, we've got, where is he? Big Tammy, Ansu Fati, Torres, Depay can all play there. Pedro is still here. We've got the new boy, Leonardo. What I do need to do is check the registration situation just to see what the situation with non-EU players is. Unless Pedro's suddenly become... No, see, there are some... Let's clear it, auto-select it, and make sure that all our non-EU players get in. PK not even in the squad. That might be enough to convince him to leave, you know. That might actually do the thing. It needs to make it clearer who our foreign players are. Where's Leonardo? So Leonardo does get in as one of the 3. So we don't need to move Pedro on, which is an excellent situation to be in. Hopefully we sell those couple of players. I don't think we need Jesus. Let's have a look at the thing. Quick look at this. Media think we're going to win the league again. Torres has gone straight into the Dream 11. De Jong, Sula, Poro, ter Stegen, all in there as well. We've got a pretty decent side here, haven't we? Let's continue getting rid of some of these older and fringier players and focusing back in again on the youngsters. Aldi needs to come up into the first team squad. No, not the B squad. But all of these are going to come up into the first team squad, I think. ter Stegen is a very, very frustrating man. His contract's up at the end of the season. He's now rejected deals from Inter and Spurs. We have a player lined up to come in to be our new backup keeper, Joaquin Ezquieta, who was previously in our B team. He's been at Athletic Club. He's a backup goalkeeper. He's exactly what we need to come in and sit on the bench. But I'm not going to bring him in until I know ter Stegen's definitely gone. I don't know what I have to do to get this man out of the door. Oh, it's actually 2 years until his contract's up. We really don't want to be paying all of his wages for all that amount of time. Although saying that, some of the wages of some of our other players are catching up with him now. We've just had to offer Sula £140,000 a week because he's got a mood on because Paris Saint-Germain wanted him, so he needs a pay rise. Obviously, De Jong, Abraham are on more than ter Stegen. The main reason for trying to push ter Stegen out of the door is that we've got Livakovic, who's much cheaper. But similar to last summer, if we have to go and do another season with the best goalkeeper in the world, then so be it. Wouldn't that be a shame? It would just help the finances if we could move him on. The Gabriel Jesus deal did fall through. We're still actually paying slightly more in wages than we were previously, mainly because I'm banking on ter Stegen going or PK going. I kind of brought the young Italian in, whose name I can't remember. Where is he? Pepetti or something like that? There he is, Pepetti. Kind of brought him in on 80 grand a week on the expectation PK would leave. But I think PK, we're just going to have to let his contract run down. set for release. Maybe that'll make him realise he'd be better off trying to find a club now. Not that it's even his issue. Nobody wants to pay his wages, so we can't get rid of him. Oh, we did bring in another player. Or we were about to bring in another player. Has he not arrived yet? Oh, he doesn't arrive until next summer. Juan Carlos Reyes, who is a young Mexican winger with 5-star potential. So we've got him coming in for less than £1 million. Actually thought he was coming in now, but my mistake. And I don't think I showed you Azpilicueta's departure before, but he has gone. He's gone to Zenit for £2.5 million. He left slightly before the other batch of players moved on. I think all I'm really waiting for now, we've got a few trialists in. The only one I'm seriously contemplating is this guy. But we probably don't need him. Now De Jong's staying. If De Jong was moving on, then Gundogan would have been a decent option. I don't think we need him. Likewise, someone like Benzema, we don't really need him. I mean, it'd be nice to have, but we don't really need him. So I think we're probably going with this as a squad. Lots more younger players in there. If we sort this by age, you can see we've got a lot of, more than half the squad now is 23 or younger, which is exactly the direction we should have been moving in. But financially, it would be nice to get ter Stegen out the door. The debt is down to 377 million. Like I say, I wanted to get it down to 300 million this summer. A 60 million pound fee for ter Stegen gets us most of the way there. So if we could sort that, that would be super. And we also sold Hector Herrera. He's gone to Napoli for 11.75 million pounds, which again, more very good business. Similar to Oxlade-Chamberlain. Bring him in for very little, use him up, spit him out for a profit. We can fight. That's one of the reasons I'm looking at Gundogan thinking, how cheap are you going to be? Because you would be useful for a year. And we can probably sell you next summer. You're just handy to have around and then sell on at a profit. Can we really push his wages down? Yeah, it's a little bit more than I want to pay. We can't get rid of Isco because we actually renewed his contract towards the end of last season when he was ruling the world, and I didn't have any plans to bring in a replacement. He's not on a lot of money, which is the other reason for doing it, but he's got a 3-year deal. I mean, he did play very well last year. It's not a disaster that we're keeping him. He's nice and cheap, but I just don't see he's going to get much game time this year with the new boy in. But he ain't going anywhere. Oh, do we have to actually make a decision on this? That's a long way from ideal. Like, we don't want to pay you a lot. If it's less than 50 grand, we'll sign him. I'm not paying more than 50 for him though. So 50 locked in. See what he says about that. I'm still not convinced I'm actually going to sign him, but the option's there now. Well, ridiculously, I took ter Stegen off the transfer list and just figured we may as well just keep him. He immediately was unhappy because I've been mistreating him for a year and has now requested a transfer of his own. I just want to scream at him. You've had 3 major clubs you could have gone to this summer and you've turned them all down. We're not accepting less than the offers that we've already accepted previously. I'll go to war with him if I have to. I've just put PK into the B squad. ter Stegen can go down there with him if he gets a grumpy on. I'm losing patience with these rascals. The last few of the high-paid old guard. Right, we are going to challenge for the title. I've offended our youth team goalkeeper. Okay. I mean, I hate these. Not the players. These silly pre-season meetings where it's just a guessing game of what you're supposed to say. And now no one wants to pay ter Stegen's wages. Of course they don't. Get out of here. Right, Sula's signed his new extended contract. That's interesting. Sergio Roberto has gone to Paris Saint-Germain after a year at Liverpool, and we've made a little bit of money in solidarity payment, which is nice. And we've got too many players to register, so we might not be able to fit Sandri into the squad. Is that so? Let's just try that again. Is that because he's non-EU? Is that why he's a problem? Where is he? So we've got Leonardo, Torres, Pedro. I think in this circumstance, we get rid of Pedro. think that's what we do. I think we need Sandri more. So I think we probably see if anyone's interested in Pedro. Do that. Oh, this might be a problem. Stupid release clauses. I've immediately offered him a new contract with a much higher release clause. I will be very upset if we lose Baldy for £5.5 million. Fingers crossed he wants to stay with us rather than going to Hertha. Crisis averted, complete with new £88 million release clause. Well, this is an interesting development. I clicked on release on a free transfer to find out how much it would cost to release him on a free transfer. You get the pop-up, right? It says this will cost X amount of money. We didn't get the pop-up. He's just gone. He's released on a free transfer. PK is gone. I don't know how much we paid him to go. He was unwilling to terminate. And then 4 minutes later, we've just released him. Is there a way to find out how much that cost? I don't even know where it would be listed. But PK's gone. Do we just keep paying his salary for the rest of his contract? Is that how it works? I have no idea. PK's gone, everybody. And the wage budget, the wage spend doesn't seem to have changed as a result of it. Yeah. Okay. We are going to loan out Sandri, I think. Just changing the subject randomly. We need to get rid of one of the Brazilians. Nobody wants Pedro. Villarreal wants Sandri. So Sandri's going to go out on loan, and we've signed Gundogan to replace him in the squad for the season. Didn't cost us anything. So Gundogan comes in for 50 grand a week, just as an option in midfield. One of a few options that we've got in central midfield. We have signed Ezquieta as well to be our backup goalkeeper. At the moment, he's our third choice goalkeeper because Ter Stegen is still here. But with Ter Stegen now on the transfer list at his own request, I assume as soon as we get a sensible offer for him, he'll go this time. So we'll just keep offering him out. It's a ridiculous situation we've got ourselves into. We've got 4 goalkeepers in our first team squad at the moment. We don't really need that. So if someone could take Ter Stegen off my hands, that'd be super. Nobody wants to. Oh, for God's sake. And Sandri doesn't want to go to Villarreal. It gets more and more complicated. I've signed Gundogan now to replace him. There's no room for you in the squad, Sandri. I want you to be playing regular football. They were going to pay all of your wages and play you in La Liga and probably in Europe. I don't really know how you could get a more perfect move than that one. I guess we try and get Pedro out. Problem is, of course, Gundogan's now in his way. Oh, this couldn't have gone any worse. Oh dear, we're getting rid of a few of these young 15-year-olds who don't really have much in the way of potential, mainly because it's irritating me getting constant offers for them, so I'll just let them go. I don't know what I'm going to do about this Brazilian situation now. Who are they? So we've got the Wonder Kid, I guess the new Wonder Kid striker, Leonardo. Leonardo. Would he go out on loan somewhere? We can try. Does anyone want to take you out on loan? I'll have to pay all of your wages. And then we'll go back to trying Pedro again. The problem is, of course, if one of those two goes, we still need another striker in the squad probably. And we don't really have room for that. Now we've signed Gundogan. This is the problem with signing the replacements for players before the players have gone. I like to think I'm being clever, but we get ourselves into what I would like to call the Livakovic situation, where you bring in a player that you then can't use because there's still a better one at the club. So we'll try Pedro again. Someone's got to leave on loan of these 3 Brazilians. Torres is the other foreign player. He is definitely part of the first team. He will not be going. Any of the other 3, I am open to offers. But clubs do need to pay their salaries, which is what complicates things a little. They're going to want to go when they realise they're not getting in the squad. This is where I need to be able to have a chat with him and say, look, you ain't getting in the squad, young man. Maybe after we officially submit the squad and I have to choose which one I'm leaving out, that one might then be a little bit more likely to agree to a move. Well, some of that happened. Trincao has gone £45.5 million to Atalanta. The only problem is, because only 30 of it was up front and we only get to retain 60% transfer revenue, didn't actually generate enough money for the Kessie deal. We've only got £33 million to spend, and he costs more than that. So the only way he gets to come in is if we sell ter Stegen as well, which is very, very unlikely, I would suggest at this point. What is happening, though, we keep getting offers for Livakovic for 30. I mean, an offer from him to 30 million, rising to 53 for a player that we spent £8 million on a year ago and have barely played. It was very difficult to turn down. If ter Stegen hadn't requested a transfer, I wouldn't have turned it down. I can't risk selling him and then having an offer for ter Stegen that he wants to. Too problematic. So for now, Livakovic stays. Ter Stegen might stay. Sandri keeps rejecting loans. There is a loan offer in for Leonardo, so he might go, which would open the door for Sandri to come back into the squad, and then we don't even need Kessie, but we'd probably need another striker at that point. There's 10 days of the transfer window to go, but it's the first day of the new season, so we're not going to get to do it now. There is still business that needs to be done. This squad is not complete. This squad is very good, but it's not complete. The midfield in particular, without Sandri in there, we've lost Herrera. I mean, it's opening the door for the likes of Gavi and Nico to play lots of football this year, which I guess isn't a bad thing. But it just feels like the squad's not quite there. That's likely to be the team for the first day of the new season, which of course will be on Monday. We don't do videos on this series at the weekend. So Gundogan plays for now. Oh, it's so complicated. This has been a very difficult transfer window. Why is Leonardo ineligible? Because he's already played for the B team today, and Sandri, of course, is unregistered. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there. Oh, forget that. Come back a minute. Back a minute. How can we not show the club finances after all that? £300 million balance, but the important thing, the net debt is down to just over £200 million. Now, obviously, we've still got the £23.5 million coming out. So over the course of the season, that's going to take most of this. But with potential outgoing transfers still to go, based on the budget I set myself at the start of the video, we could spend 100 million. We can bring Kessie in, still be fine on the target that we set, with then the next summer to clear the final 300 million and be able to give us thumbs up, jobs done. So we've done very well financially, but that is because the squad's not finished. So take it with a pinch of salt. There's going to be another signing yet. It will either be Kessie or it will be a striker or neither. I don't know. It really depends on which one of those young Brazilians we can get out on loan, if either of them. If neither of them go, I guess nobody comes in. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. Thank you very much for watching.